Okay, Sambit Patra, respond to the charge that while the crisis was at its peak, when he should have been showing the people of India the way, the Prime Minister did not make a public address. Now that things are getting better, he's out to take credit because he knows that over the next few weeks things will get better. Charge number one. Charge number two, somebody in the opposition can stand up and say, Sambit Patra, jump off the cliff, it's a great idea. That doesn't mean that Sambit Patra will not apply his own mind and say, no, Mr. Khera, jumping off the cliff is not a good idea and I will not jump off the cliff. Because they gave you a wrong prescription doesn't mean that you, with all the wisdom that you have, would accept a wrong prescription and say it's your prescription that led me to jump off the cliff. But you know, Mr. Patra, that jumping off the cliff is not a good idea.
Well, now let me answer each one of them coolly, calmly. First and foremost, as far as this credit game is concerned, to the accusation that why the Prime Minister was not addressing the public system while the whole thing was in a state of flux, while the whole disease was all around us. Remember, silent work then, and work then mattered a lot. And now, of course, announcements are important because vaccination process is important. Remember, during then, I would just request you to play the portions of the interview of Mr. Iqbal Singh Chahal, the Commissioner of Mumbai, who has nothing to do with Bharatiya Janata Party. In fact, the MVA government there does not belong to us. It is a government of opposition. In fact, all the opposition party almost who are criticizing us coming together. What did Mr. Chahal say? Mr. Chahal said, whatever the condition today India is in, if you have to blame someone, his exact words, blame the state government, not the central government, because I have seen what the central government has done for Maharashtra. It was middle of night and I felt that I need this amount of oxygen and I just in fact, send a message to the central government, and within 20 seconds, he mentions it. Within 20 seconds, the cabinet secretary sends me a message saying that, well, yes, you will be getting the required tankers, and this is how he saved Maharashtra. So work was what was going on. Secondly, to say that, well, we were not serious about vaccinations, orders were not placed. Rahul, I have letters over here. Because of dearth of time, I cannot read out the letters. And those excerpts of press conferences of 3 chief ministers, Chhattisgarh chief minister, the chief minister of Rajasthan and Punjab, who categorically in written denied that they would not allow a single vial of Covaxin to their state. And I also have the order of Maharashtra's, Mumbai High Court. The Bombay High Court, in fact, castigated the Maharashtra state government because Maharashtra state government did not want one of their facilities to be used for ramping up the production of Covaxin. In fact, we had to file a case. We, in the sense, the Covaxin, Bharat Biotech had to file a case in the Mumbai High Court for the same. It is available in the public domain.
Pawan Khera.
Thirdly and lastly, I'll just take 20 more seconds. I will just take 20 more seconds. Thirdly and lastly, rather than all this politicization, which of course will take place in India because we are political in nature, my simple and humble submission to the opposition parties would be, please introspect. We still have profiteering out of vaccine in Punjab. I believe my good friend Pawan and Mr. Rahul Gandhi, who is watching this debate, will of course come out and assure us that no, henceforth, well, yes, we are going to get free vaccine from the center. We will try not to profit out of it. And similarly, we don't want Rajasthan and the Chhattisgarh government to bury the vaccines, to burn the vaccines, and throw them as waste.
So, Pawan Khera, on the issue of timing, Sambit Patra's defense is that when people were dying and funeral pyres were lit is the wrong time to give people a bhashan. That time the government had to work behind the scenes, which is what the Prime Minister did. Now that things are getting better, he's out showing the way and the roadmap from here.
Rahul, we all know what happened. We all know what every single city went through in this country. So forget what he was doing. He was not doing his job. He did not do it in time. Whether it is oxygen availability, whether it's remdesivir, whether it's tocilizumab, or now the black fungus drug. Where is that drug? In Delhi, for the last 4 days, it hasn't been supplied. Ask the patients, ask the families, they'll know what the Prime Minister was doing. So don't give me this कि Prime Minister काम कर रहे थे. साहब काम नहीं कर रहे थे. सीधी बात तो ये है. Number 2, Mr. Sambit Patra, in the Maharashtra case of Bharat Biotech, that particular land was in forest area. There was a litigation there. The government could not overrule the courts and say, okay, go ahead and take this land. There is a rule of law in this country, hopefully, and I hope it continues. And finally, the court had to, because it was a litigated matter. So don't mislead the people. That's the habit of the Prime Minister. The spokesperson should not follow the Prime Minister so blindly. Number 3, you're talking about profiteering. I did a press conference 10 days ago about Tejasvi Surya profiteering like shamelessly for his own self. His uncle, got caught red-handed, literally. There is audio tape. So don't give me this about profiteering from vaccines. Vaccines which were meant for government were being routed to a private hospital in Bangalore, and Tejasvi Surya was advertising that hospital 950 rupees per vial. So please don't say that. There is an FIR also lodged there. Number 4, 150 rupees for vaccine. The Prime Minister announces today for private sector. Why? Who is the Prime Minister to decide that I will pay 150 rupees per dose as service charge to the hospital? Is this the kind of government I have elected? हम भी बहुत वैक्सीन करवाए हैं इस देश में 70 साल में. कितने में आपने पैसा दिया जरा आप बताइए. यहाँ आपके कंधे पर भी निशान होगा बचपन की वैक्सीन का. बताइए कितना पैसा दिया था आपने. Who is the Prime Minister to decide that private hospitals will profit 150
Rahul.
rupees? This is a free vaccination.
Okay.
कौन सी free vaccination है जहाँ 150 रुपए लगेंगे साहब?
Okay, so pause the politics for a moment. I want to get a medical
just come for
perspective
10
in.
seconds?
First to Dr. Shashank Joshi, who's a member of the Maharashtra Task Force